well. Whoops. Cat on the back knee. Welcome back, everybody, to, you guessed it. Yes, it is Sodi Pop on YouTube. We have a wonderful X-Men drop today in the X-Men Uncanny X-Men number 200, of course, for the Marvel comic drops. Oops, let's go back. Yeah, there we go. All right, beautiful. We are looking good to go. All right, so we have the Uncanny X-Men number 200. My cat's back here. She was in jail yesterday because what were you? She's not fixed yet, and she gets very, very loud at night. So we had to put her in a little kennel just so she wasn't going crazy, because she'll wake us up at all hours of the night, just like a baby, right? Really weird. She's like totally silent when she's held. You're very good. You're very good. So this is Rue. Anyways, all right. Now she's gonna go and meow somewhere, and hopefully not ruin all my stuff. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, Uncanny X-Men number 200, the trial of Magneto for his crimes against humanity. So, I might have to kick her out for a second. Anyways, Uncanny X-Men, trial of Magneto. Magneto stands accused, and the verdict is about to come down. The Von Strucker twins wreck the courtroom in an attempt to avenge their father. Who was their father? We don't know, but I believe they are the son and daughter of, yes, a Nazi person. So this is the first appearance of like the Von Strucker twins, apparently. And then, of course, Magneto has a really, really interesting backstory. That was kind of the whole point of this, of X-Men, is they really introduced some, I'd say, some very thoughtful, some very interesting ideas to the world. It was always much more serious. Mutants were kind of an exiled class, right? There was a lot of conversation as to whether they should be immediately jailed. And of course, you have people like Bridge or Cable that are from futures where mutants are labeled. Bridge, like, literally has an M on his eye, which is a symbol of mutants. Essentially, they're put into concentration camps from the very beginning. So it was always like a really interesting tale of mistreatment of mutants, or quote unquote humans, and how mutants were going to deal with that. And of course, Magneto, he went through the Holocaust, and he is informed very much because of that. And this particular comic gives Magneto a backstory, which we'll discover very shortly. So there are 30,000 editions of the classic cover, all the way from 21,000 to 600 variants. This cover looks awesome. I think it's a very iconic cover. Very simple. You have Magneto's eyes closed and blacked out, almost like concentrated and ready to await judgment. Of course, you have the black and white. And then this one is interesting. So we have Magneto kind of like bearing, like very upset or something. He doesn't look as cool. He is in his classic costume from the 90s, which I really like, which is very cool. But he doesn't look calm and poised, which Magneto, as we see here, he's very poised. He's ready to accept his judgment or what have you. He's not someone to like lose his cool in situations. So that was what was always very interesting about Magneto as a villain or anti-hero, because he would be a hero in the right circumstance sometimes or whatever, but he was definitely a major villain for pretty much the majority of everything. We got some coffee here. I made a little latte. I got this new cup, 12 ounce cup. It's this Me R brand or whatever, just because my machine here makes a double espresso, and all my cups are kind of too big. Granted, I could just make it shorter. I get it. I could just measure my stuff out, but I ran into this. I'm like, hell yeah. So it makes the perfect little latte, because I want to stop spending money on lattes or whatever out. I do make most of my coffee anyways, but the few times I do, I want to not blow the bank, right? On lattes, you kind of need to spend it on all this X-Men and stuff within VeVe. So is this a hold or keep? Is this very expensive? We can look at the Uncanny X-Men on Go Collect. We see 9.6, fair market value is around 100, right? 9.8, let's see, I don't even think they have one on here right now, but $100, so really not too expensive. Should you hold it? Should you not? Probably not, but if that's something you like, again, buy what you like and it doesn't matter. It does have the first appearance of some twins, but it's not going to break the bank. It's not the first appearance of X-Men or Magneto or any of these major characters. We will of course go ahead and read very shortly, but this is the Fenris Earth 616, which is the main Earth that everything is based on. You know, Spider-Man. So they are the children of a Nazi supremacist Baron Wolfgang von Strucker, who saw the potential for their future. While still in utero, the children were bioengineered by Dr. Armin Zola to have superpowers, using the X gene, with each gaining the ability to fly and fire beams of concentrated plasma as long as they were in physical contact, usually accomplished by holding hands. So that's annoying. They have to be in physical contact to use their powers. Very, very stupid. But very interesting. All right, so we saw that. We'll talk about the market shortly after the comic reading. So let's go ahead and check that out right now. Oops, let's make sure my iPad's on. It is connected. It was connected, and beautiful. So we're ready to go on that front. Let me make sure my comment sections are ready to go. And then I'm excited. I do have some things coming up. I still have to build out a little bit, but they will be coming up. My live streams are going to be fully scheduled as soon as these are announced. I know I have not been putting on my live stream schedule quite yet because, but my live stream schedule will be fully announced immediately. And I'm doing live streams for every comic book. And then if there's like a major drop for collectible, so, you know, maybe a bigger golden moment or something of that sort, but definitely every comic drop. All right. We are already here. I'm curious if the market is open yet. Let me close the VeVe app for a second. Reopen it. And it should appear at any moment now. Ah, there we go. Beautiful. Let me just go back to regular streaming, I guess. For some reason, it's not showing there. Okay. We'll just go here, see if we can look at the market. The market is open. Let's just double check what they're selling for. I'm assuming it's going to be selling for under the value. Around 7 gems, 25 gems, 100 gems. Okay, here we go. Yeah, around 6-7 gems. Nothing too crazy. And the secret rare is around 250, but everything is just being released, so I imagine that will go a little bit down. Spider-Woman had a recent pump with a couple of different comics channels really going in and saying like this could be a big one, right? Anything first appearance of a spider something, Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Girl, you know, because they could be big in the future, and the Spider-Verse in particular is very popular, and especially if they pick the right actor or actress, which they usually do. They usually do a pretty darn good job at that. So it'll be interesting to see what develops of that. I think Spider-Gwen would also be very cool. But yes, this one was one that popped off. I think it was under 200 gems for the secret rare. pop off to above 300, is now sitting at 294. So calm down a little bit. Whenever you hear people getting really into a particular collectible or it pops off, if it's already like starting to pop off, unless I catch it at the very beginning, I think it's kind of too late. So we could look at Winnie the Pooh as an example. And this is one that I wish I would have gotten, but again, I was doing my taxes, so I wanted to wait till I knew exactly what I owed or didn't owe. And I do wish I would have gotten one, but this one I think is sitting above 500-ish. I'm very curious as to where it is right now, actually. See what's in the market. 397. So this one did pop up to like above. This is a perfect example, actually. Was it below? It was like 200-ish, below 300. I want to say it was like 250. And then it popped up to almost 500, and now it's back down to 397 as we see here. So if you're just patient, especially with an overall downtrend in the market, we've seen pretty much everything going down. The overall downtrend, we are going to see things go up a little bit and then calm down, calm majorly down. Where if we were in January still, things would go up and keep going up, right? Where you would be able to catch up. So if you just be patient, maybe you have to wait weeks or months. But if we're in an overall bull trend where things are just popping off left and right, then yeah, I'd be a little bit more interested in buying it when it maybe is the first run up, because it's like, okay, it went from 250 to 320, 350, but because everything's going crazy, it might go up to 1,000, which would be reasonable in a major bull trend. We haven't seen that quite yet. We haven't even seen that take hold for the overall crypto market quite yet. So we'll go to a coin market cap really quick. Everything is doing really well. Bitcoin is above 45,000, and really everything is up. Where's Omi right now? I had some more buys set on Omi. I bought a little bit more. Oh yeah, this is weird. So I was assuming it'd be back on, so you might have to go to CoinGecko, but Ecomi wasn't being tracked the past couple of days, and I thought this was going to be fixed. But that is one. Let's go to CoinGecko and see if Omi is listed in here. And if not, I'm not really sure. Okay, so Omi is listed on here. Perfect. 0.00302. So it did go up a little bit. Nothing too crazy. So over the 7 days recovered, but it's really been choppy. Again, any smaller altcoin like Omi is going to be very difficult to trade effectively. It's going to, in general, follow the market. Everything's going to follow Bitcoin. And if we see Bitcoin going back in a major bull trend, then we will see these things maybe pop off hundreds of percents. With that being said, there will be ones that do individually pop off hundreds of percents. I want to say Ada Cardano did a really insane thing this past 7 days. So went up all the way from 90 to 122. So a nice big old percent gain right there. And then one that I hold, it used to be called AnySwap. Now it's called multi-chain or something. Yes. So it was formerly AnySwap. This one went like majorly down and came back up. Definitely a smaller coin. So it was 980 just about 4 days ago. And then pretty much went up like 50-60%. The 1277 went up to a high of almost 14 here. So 980 to 14, which is great. But these are individual coins, and there's particular reasons why they might have really great news or what have you. So unless we see 10, 20, 40, 50 coins popping off where the market is coming back, because Bitcoin is above 60K and it's kind of resuming the bull trend that maybe we saw in 2020, 2021, at the end of 2020. Just be patient. We are not in a bull trend, and that bull trend will affect VeVe. If we get back in there, VeVe, I believe, will also, those NFTs will get back in there. Why? Because crypto market will be hot again. Everyone will be discussing it in the news and like, oh my gosh, look at these gains. And then people will also turn their eyes onto other things that can do 10, 20, 30, 40x, which is the NFTs within VeVe. I guarantee you that. And maybe not all the NFTs, maybe not all the ones that aren't popular, but I would mainly concentrate on first appearances of anything, because again, a first appearance will always be a first appearance, and that will be the only appearance in some ways. That'll be the only FA. Any FA after that, you know, so keep that in mind. There can only be so many FAs of these major characters. All right, so let's go back to here. We can go ahead and read the comic Uncanny X-Men number 200, of course. We have Strange Tales that we read last time was really interesting. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's go back. There we go. Uncanny X-Men 200. Oops. 200. Beautiful. Let's go to issues. Should pull it right up. And there we go. Trial of Magneto. Beautiful. So, Uncanny X-Men double-sized issue. So this is going to be maybe a bigger one. Perhaps. The Trial of Magneto. This week in Paris, France, the most extraordinary man goes on trial before a special tribunal of the International Court of Justice charged with crimes against humanity. To many, he is the epitome of evil, the greatest fiend ever since Adolf Hitler. Others, though, consider him both liberator and hero. He is the self-styled master of magnetism. His name is Magneto. A Stan Lee presentation starring the Uncanny X-Men, Chris Claremont writer, John Romita Jr., and Dan Green as artists. Linus Oliver colorist, Tom Orzechowski letterer, and Nocenti editor, Jim Shooter editor-in-chief. His origin is unknown, but from the initial appearance at the America's Cape Citadel missile base, he championed the cause of Homo superior, more commonly referred to as mutants. That offshoot of the human species possessing extraordinary physical and mental abilities. But years ago, he paid a heavy price at the hands of a creature called Mutant Alpha. He was reduced to infancy and forced to begin his life anew. Ooh. He oft-proclaimed goal was the conquest of Earth, his rationale being that this was the only way mutant kind could ever protect itself from extermination. Invariably, in the past, he was opposed by a team of mutants known as the X-Men, but recently, they seem to have formed an alliance. Very interesting. And when he was finally apprehended at the National Holocaust Center in Washington, D.C., it was by the federal government's newly established action team, Freedom Force. Freedom Force. So it looks like the Freedom Force used to work. So these were like Magneto's old buddies, more or less. They've worked with Magneto before. Huh. Normally, the World Court sits in The Hague, since it's a criminal proceeding of a type not seen since the Nuremberg tribunals that followed World War II. It was decided to shift venues from the Netherlands to Paris, historic Palais de Justice, in Isle de Cité, only a block from the Notre Dame Cathedral. There will be no jury, and 5 judges have been drawn from the permanent members of the United Nations Security Council: France, Great Britain, the People's Republic of China, the Soviet Union, and United States. Prosecuting the case is England's Attorney General, Sir James Jaspers. Defense counsel is Israel's ambassador to Britain, Gabriel Haller, assisted by the American scholar and educator, one of the foremost experts in human genetic mutations, Charles Xavier. Feelings are already running high, and the mood is ugly. There have been daily protests prompting some of the heaviest security measures you've ever seen. As the trial progresses, the impression here is the tension will continue to grow. Ooh. And the situation becomes increasingly more dangerous. This is Neil Conan, National Public Radio, reporting. This isn't just in Paris, Charles. This trial has sparked incidents across the globe. almost as if it's given people an excuse to vent the anti-mutant hatred they've kept hidden within themselves. What would you have us do, Gabby? Run away? Abandon Magneto to his fate? No. He is right. The only way to deal with such deep-rooted, fundamentally irrational fear and prejudice is to confront it. The Mediterranean. And the situation has become increasingly dangerous. This is Neil Conan. Why bother with such a farce? The pig is guilty. Everybody knows it. He should be guillotined, or better, yet drawn and quartered, boiled in oil. My, aren't we in a bloodthirsty mood this morning, little brother? And a daring one, too, I see. Sprawling on my bed, eating my caviar, guzzling my champagne. Andrea! I'm sorry, relax, Andreas. You shan't punish you, this time. The television. I taped Francis reports on the trial. I knew you'd want to watch. How considerate. Xavier, Hollow, and Magneto all together? Fate, dear brother, is too kind. Clink. It has given us the perfect opportunity to repay our oldest debt by slaughtering them. Oh no. Nazi twins! Not very good. The Bagatelle part of the Bois de Boulogne. At night, this glorious park on the western outskirts of Paris belongs mostly to lovers. But in the morning, between dawn and the start of the workday, its paths lead gardens are province of strollers, joggers, horseback riders, students skylarking before school, ordinary people doing ordinary things. We are witnessed suddenly, quite without warning, the X-Men and the New Mutants, most extraordinarily, return to Earth. So it looks like they're in the middle of like fighting. They get like zapped back to Earth. If you want to know about where both teams have been and what they've been up to, read The Mutants Special Edition #1 and X-Men Annual #9 on sale now. See, that's what's crazy about the way they wrote the X-Men and all these stories is they had like these intertwining stories of like, and things would reappear, and it's just like you would really have to have a reading guide to read these in order the way the story wants you to. Saperiste, que c'est la que c'est, que voilà. I don't speak French, I'm sorry. So it looks like the crowd is yelling at them. Somehow, somewhere, my friends. Oh, that's Nightcrawler speaking. Somewhere, somehow, my friends, I think we made a wrong turn. Let me talk to these people, Nightcrawler. I'll find out where we are. Great. For once, my talent with languages is going to do some good. They're speaking French. Pardon, messieurs. Au Saint-Noy? Paris. All the dumb, when Loki said he'd transport us home, I assumed he meant our mansion in New York. But he must have sent us to where Professor X is. Our best bet would be to try and find Xavier. Q, Cyclops. We're stuck in a foreign country, and we got no papers, no money. What do we tell a local law, huh? Pardon us, bub, but we're just passing through from flamin' Asgard. We're stuck in a foreign country. We have no papers, no money. Oh. One problem, Wolverine, at the time. We have drawn a crowd. We need to slip away and find more private place to plan our next moves. Leave that to me, Storm. One telepathic diversion coming up. Too many onlookers. It's as if the strangers disappeared, Rachel Summers having used her formidable psi powers to block everyone's perceptions of the mutants. Within hours, a fantastic rumor sweeps Paris that George Lucas is in town filming a new movie with absolutely spectacular special effects. What's up, Wen Pokemon? How you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. Poland, a few days later. A Red Army base near the Baltic seaport of Cezanne. So this is really interesting because it's also during the Cold War. We have the USSR that's still happening. So that's what's really interesting about a lot of these stories is they're happening during the Cold War, obviously following World War II, and so there's all these really interesting things happening at the time these are being written, even as well. Boom! Big explosion. Free Magneto! X-Men! The Ritz, Paris. There's an unconfirmed reports of a terrorist assault on the major Soviet military installation outside Stettin on the East German border. The cost in lives and equipment is believed by NATO intelligence sources to be heavy. A message is reputed to have been left by the attackers demanding that the arch-villain Magneto be freed. It is signed, the X-Men. No, cannot be. Soviet and Warsaw forces have throughout Eastern Europe have gone on a full war alert, and NATO spokesperson have indicated that the alliance will do the same. It is not known as yet whether a real connection exists between the message and the trial currently underway in Paris, nor will the effect, if any, will have the outcome. This is Neil Conan. Oh, my chest! My heart! Can't breathe! Professor Xavier, it's Scott Summers. Sir, may I come in? Oh, just a moment. Must master pain. Use my will remaining psi talent to minimize the damage. It's only the minor event, thanks heaven, but I'm finding it increasingly difficult to deal with them. My time is running out. Are you all right, Professor? Fine, my boy. Merely a touch of indigestion. Blasted, Professor, why don't you trust me enough to tell me? You're dying. The past few days have been pretty wild. I don't think Paris will ever be the same, but everything's worked out okay. The New Mutants are on their way to Doc McTaggart's place on Muir Island. The X-Men will stay with you. Have you heard the morning news? The X-Men are being framed, Scott, as is Magneto. The villains responsible must be found and stopped. I find it hard, Professor, to risk my life for a man who's tried more than once to kill me. I understand. You're ambivalent, Scott, but I also ask you to respect my judgment. Magneto has vowed to accept any decision of the court. Even a death sentence? You really believe he'll let himself be executed? I pray it will not come to that. For his people, for us, Cyclops, for mutant kind, he placed his life in jeopardy. At least he deserves. Return is a fair trial. If not for Magneto, do this for yourselves. The X-Men are being blamed for these atrocities. To prove the team's innocence, find the true culprits. The largest protest seen thus far filled the Isle de City this morning as Sir James Jaspers rose to present the prosecution's opening statement. It is said, my lords and ladies. Wait, James Jaspers, he's British, right? Yeah, he's British. Governor? It is said, my lords and ladies, in which political trial, a modern-day witch hunt, that the accused is no more than a man fighting passionately for a noble cause, the liberation of his oppressed people. He is Moses and we are Pharaoh. This simply is not so. He is a criminal. He has killed, he has robbed, he has wantonly destroyed. More than once, he has brought the world to the brink of Armageddon. More than once, he has brought. And what is the cause of the purpose of this triumph? Where is oppression of which he so eloquently speaks? I know of no country where it is a crime merely to be a mutant. I have seen no death camps, heard no reports of genocide. Throughout the earth there are no treated no better, no worse than their fellow human citizens. If prejudice exists, there are means within society to combat it. Magneto chose to place himself above the law and thereby beyond the pale of civilized conduct. If a danger occurs, it comes from not us, but from him. Hangzhou, West Germany. That's on my laundry. 1 second. Sorry, my cat's on my laundry. She sometimes tries to pee on it, which isn't good. So I had to move over. Okay, back. Onward, West Germany. Headquarters of the 173rd Tactical Strike Wing, United States Air Force. Uh-oh, looks like a plane was just hit down. Oh, plane crashes. Fire all over. Free Magneto! X-Men. So it looks like the attacks continue and they're continuing to frame the X-Men. Police and the Germany Today sealed off the Isle de la Cité. A public anger over the ongoing series of terrorist attacks continues to grow. It's hardly the most auspicious moment for the Ambassador Haller to present her case for her defense. Die, mutants! Kill him! Traitor! My lords, my lady, my learned friend opposite would have you believe that his case is clear-cut, the issues black and white. Were that so? Recent history, however, is full of accused and admitted terrorists, thieves and murderers, whom international community later accepted, even welcomed as statesmen. Should a person who acts for a cause be judged by the same standard as the one who acts from greed? And if the cause is just, what then the deeds committed in its name? Regarding the specifics of all the indictment, I move that all counts pertaining to incidents that occurred prior to Magneto's confrontation with Mutant Alpha at the United Nations be struck. Traitor! Jewess, you sold out your own kind. You deserve the same fate as him. Merely Gabby? Merely thinking. Sadly, Charles. Less change. Less a meme chose. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Some old hatreds never seem to die. As I was saying, at that time Magneto was reduced to infancy, returned to the state of grace. His life can be said to have begun again. The man that was, at that moment, ceased to exist. In effect, he died, which is, of course, the ultimate penalty for any crime. Objection! This is the most preposterous perversion. It is an establishment beyond question that Magneto was an inmate at Auschwitz as an adolescent. He should therefore be nearly 60 years old. Yet expert medical testimony will show that he is now biologically a man in his early 30s. That's irrelevant. He committed those crimes regardless of his age. Meanwhile, close by, on the left bank of Seine. This is where I believe our terrorists will strike next. We'll have to split up to cover as many targets as possible. When trouble comes, the other teams will have to head forward quickly as they can. Might not be all call for mutants for assistance, Cyclops. We could cover a great deal more territory. No, they're children, my friends. And our foes are proven killers, who slay with merciless indiscrimination, abandon. This affair is simply too dangerous. And our foes are proven killers. Oh. It's weird how they do that cut split sometimes. Besides, should we fail, someone must be left to take our place. We can't call on the Avengers or the Fantastic Four either. They'd feel beyond duty bound to arrest us on sight. By the time we explained ourselves, assuming they believed us, it'd be too late. Whatever happens, X-Men, our usual, we're on our own. After long and heated deliberation, Chief Judge Michel Devoux handed down the court's ruling. We find for the defense, the indictment is restricted to those specifications which occurred after Magneto's resurrection. All other charges are hereby stricken. Sham! Boo! Don't worry, Judas, you'll get yours. Translated from the French. Silence in the court. Another such outburst, and I shall have the chamber cleared. The mood is very ugly. I feel as if anything can happen. At least we seem to be winning. Don't fool yourselves. These are just the preliminaries. I'll be expected to do well. Now, the trial really begins. Sir James, proceed to your first witness. Rue. Come here, 1 second. All right. Boring. Wait of England, yeah? I'll summon Admiral Gregory Milhailovich Surov, Commander-in-Chief of the Soviet Navy's Strategic Missile Submarine Force. Boring. Ain't one of my virtue storm, all a girl and all action junkie. Be patient, rogue. Nightcrawler. Terrorovich. Why should they attack a hospital? Think of the headlines, Colossus. Multiple massacres, helpless patients. We've never lived that down. We've been waiting hours, Wolverine. Yep. Suppose nothing happens. Try again tomorrow night, kitty. Suppose Cyclops has guessed wrong. Cannon fire! The swine! Radio the others, Colossus. Tell them it's us. That was an incendiary shell. Set ablaze the building. Hold them off while we evacuate the patients. And with that cry, the German X-Men vanishes, and his characteristically noisome burst of smoke and flame. One take, that's a squad of infantry, clad in battle armor. No problem. Colossus rips up the ground. Smashes the tank. Kaboom! The soldiers are still unconscious, but not for long. Colossus, the fire spurting toward the investive care wing. Oh no. Those people can't be moved. They're attacking the hospital. It's interesting, how do they get a tank in there without being noticed? That is something for later, I guess. I see then, the fire must be stopped. It cannot burn without fuel. Which means, regrettably, this part of the complex must be leveled. If only Storm still possessed her elemental power, she could summon rain and drown these flames. It is good to have her back with us, but since she is no longer a mutant, how can she stay? My improvised fire breaks seem to be working. Also, Storm lost her powers. Interesting. Beam is fired. Ugh. But from where? Another one. There's the hospital. Nice mess. Cyclops. A side flash of pain from Colossus has been hit by some sort of pressure beam. Get us down there, Rogue, fast. Oh my gosh. Look out! He blocks. Barely managed to deflect that bolt. I have to focus on my telekinetic powers. Make our landing gentle. Ouch! Zundul. Was you hit? The same force, I'll wager. Petrovich, that just struck me. Are you alright, mind friend? Ah. As usual, my only costume suffered. The armored goons the two of you fought were obviously merely cannon fodder. It's the person wielding that power that blasts who real threat. Down, X-Men! Gunfire! Those bozos starting round 2. This is the police! Hands up, mutants! You are under arrest. Those were warning shots. One false move. We shoot to kill. For what it's worth, gentlemen, we're the good guys. She takes her guns. We can't do any more here except ourselves. Rachel, cloud everyone's perceptions to mask our escape. But who'd ever believe the truth told by a mutant? They're running away. We come to help, to save the lives. We avert a disaster, as we always do. Free Magneto X-Men. Scrawled in the building. It makes no difference. He blasts where the Free Magneto X-Men was. We're more outcasts than ever. Thanks to last night's terrorist assault on the Saint Just Military Hospital near Paris. The International Herald Tribune, X-Men, attack hospital. Come on, guys, get it right. Tensions at the trial of the Magneto are running higher than ever. This is Neil Conan. There, that's a slut who's defending the monster. Shame, woman. Get out of France, beauty lovers. We don't want your kind here. Foreigners, go back to where you came from. Take my hands, both of you. I'll face us all out here, so we don't get hit. You know, Charles, I have a feeling, a sad feeling, that if By some miracle, I win Magneto's acquittal. The mob will go berserk and tear him apart, along with his lawyer. Lousy, rotten, stinkin'. Never been so angry, so scared. How can people be so cruel? The mob isn't people. Kitty, it's perhaps the wildest of animals. This can't go on. The X-Men, all mutant kind. Are we all on trial for this as well as Magneto? We've got to find the creeps behind these attacks. Prove our innocence in public. But what's the point? It's probably already too late. It's easy to run away or give up, as my parents did. They were lucky. They died in Bergen-Belsen. For them, the pain ended quickly. They've no memories to haunt them, no more fears. But we have survived the duty to make it certain the Holocaust never happens again to anyone. We must fight, Kitty. We may be defeated, but we must never surrender. Meanwhile, in Ocean Away. Oh. Madeline Prayer, Cyclops' wife of over a year, wakes alone in the sprawling mansion that houses Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and serves as the X-Men's secret headquarters. It is expected that the trial will reach its climax today when Magneto himself takes a stand. That report was from correspondent Neil Cohen. The time is 11 minutes past the hour, and this is NPR's Morning Edition. I'm Bob Edwards, coming from Tallahassee. Bad news is getting worse. I feel so out of it, so helpless. Why hasn't Scott called? Has the X-Men returned from Asgard over a week ago? Are those things tough over there? Is he so busy? Others have phoned. Aurora, Nightcrawler, and Kitty almost every day, bless her. Doesn't Scott want to talk to me? He hasn't forgotten I exist. Probably. Baby, I love your father dearly, but sometimes he can be a real jerk. Huh? Sarah, Scott's father, leader of the Starjammers. And Empress Leandra? Charles Xavier, where is he? Looks like they're interesting. I know his condition, Madeline. I felt his death pain through the rapport. We share the advanced medical technology aboard Starjammer. It is the only thing I can do to save my beloved. He's sick? Oh no! This is terrible. He isn't here. He's in Paris. Blast. This complication we do not need. Leandra will have to beam back and recalibrate the Stargate. Hate the run, Madeline. Or Sarah, wait, explain yourselves. Can't. Honey, no time. Huh. I better phone the X-Men. Warn them. Ugh! King Cratchit, a big one. Where the heck did that come from? I'm not due for another. Ugh! My baby! You're being born! Huh. So maybe they're feeling Xavier's death pain and not so much Scott's death pain. A third massive spasm hammers Madeline to her knees, while across the infinite of the fringes of Shivar space, the Starjammer orbits an insignificant orb of mostly nickel iron and a remote planetoid notable solely for the presence of a Stargate. A device capable of instantaneously bridging the gulf between star systems, in this case, galaxies. Impressed Raza by yon newest recruit to our happy little band, Binary's powers and being the gates all by herself. The pretty light should odd. I'll grant you that. Would it be were finished as Starjammers on our way? Heads up, you two. Our wanderers are homeward bound. Not far along, we've hit a snag. Binary maintain the gate. We're beaming out again as quick as we can. Headspath, you copy? Yeah. Waldo, online. As Prime Computer Corsair, I run this spaceship, so how could it be anything but? Recalibrate the gate's transmit for Paris, France. That's where Xavier is. Suppose he's somewhere else. Not to him. Go his life save. Must Xavier bring here. Scha. Friend Xavier is Hesaba. Would aid all the work. Explosions. Multiple atomics bracketing hull. Hesaba says it's Shira Battles Group. The Jammer's shields are holding, but they won't last indefinitely. Save yourself, friends. I ask only to be sent to Earth, that I may stand by my beloved's side at his life's end. If Waldo can come up with the right numbers in time, we'll save Xavier yet. If not, then Empress, you go your way, we'll go ours. But, Corsair, if you go back, there might be trapped on Earth. Worse, suppose the gates collapse while you're in transit. That binary is a risk both Leandra and I choose to take. There's no sense through condemning the rest of you in the bargain. The moment shield strength goes critical, you forget about us, and you abandon us. You run. Back in Paris. It is by far the biggest protest Paris has ever seen. The city streets are jammed with people from across Europe, and more are flooding every hour. Thanks for the update, Mr. Conan, but I can see for myself. Ray, there must be marches like these in the future. Era you came from. We had riots, Kitty. My grandparents, my mom, folks were killed in one. We saved your world. We saved you, hold our universe. But what do you care? You don't deserve the X-Men. Kitty, have you listened to their chants or looked closely at the signs they are carrying? Peter, why? Rogue translated them for me. Those are all pro-mutant sentiments. These people are on our side. The lettering is so blurry I can't read. Try as I might, I can't get my eyes to focus. But I always used to be able to see things far away. I love sitting in the back of the movie theaters. This really is the living end. I'm an X-Man. I can't need glasses. This isn't fair! What's the matter, Kitty? You alright? Sure, Cyclops. Fine as I can be. I feel pretty silly about that crowd, though. You know, if I wanted to absolutely heroically ruin the X-Men's rep, these are the people I'd attack. And now is the time I'd strike. Called to testify, Admiral Gregory Mihailovich Surov, Vice Commander-in-Chief of the Soviet Navy. The criminal sank the submarine Leningrad with the loss of his entire crew. What type of vessel was that, Admiral? A Delta II class fleet ballistic missile submarine, armed with nuclear weapons? Yes. And had not Leningrad just fired 4 of those missiles at the accused island's home? In a deliberate attempt to kill him, we were provoked. It was our right as a sovereign nation to respond, so Magneto threatened us. The Soviet Union acted in self-defense. Our analysis of the beam that struck Colossus and Rogue indicates it was organic in origin. That kind of natural power can't easily be hidden. So Rachel's using her telepathic ability to scan for any sign of it. Easy as pie, Daddy. I spent years doing this in my native era, as a hound hunting down mutants, so they could be killed. I swore on your and Mom's graves I'd never do this again. But with so much at stake, how can I refuse? Bingo, X-Men. I've got him. I freely admit the destruction of both Warship and the Siberian city of Kino, although the latter was done in such a way as to ensure no loss of life. How considerate of you. Tell us why. For the same reason the Soviets attacked me, in self-defense, self-preservation. You held the world hostage, threatening the great powers with annihilation. If they do not immediately disarm, you cede to air all their political power. Do you dare deny that? Sir James, the behavior of this opposing council has been exemplary. I strongly suggest you follow their example. By what right do these same great powers hold me hostage with their nuclear arsenals? I am a citizen of neither the United States nor the Soviet Union, yet they possess the capability to slay me and mine. I live, I prosper, solely because 2 men in opposite sides of the globe choose to keep the peace. I can just as easily as arbitrarily be condemned. Unlike others, however, I have the power to do something about it. I thought mistakenly those nations would be best understand their own language of violence. Unfortunately, force begat force, and, as always, innocence paid the price. The price I discovered too late. That was too high. My goal has not changed, but my methods have. You still seek the domination of the world? My dream of the start has been the protection and preservation of my own kind, mutants. To spare them from the fate my family suffered in Auschwitz, and do not tell me such a thing cannot happen, because that is a lie. You humans slaughter each other because of the color of the skin, or the faith of your politics, or for no reason at all. Too many of you hate as easily as you draw breath. What's to prevent you from adding us to the list? I thought I could impose sanity from above through conquest, but there are too many of you, so I decided I must try another way. I am the reason mutants are unjustly feared. That is why I am here, why I will abide by the court's decision. My hope is to make the world understand the reasons for my being, but most of all, to punish me for my crimes, and no longer my people. Whatever my fate, you must still face reality presented by our mutants' existence. You cannot wish us away, you cannot ignore us. We are Homo sapiens superior, are your children. We are the next generation of humanity. What kind of parent fears his progeny, tries to murder them? Is this the legacy you wish to leave? I have seen the error of my ways. Can you say the same? As Magneto speaks, a bateau mouche cruises up the Seine. Crowded with tourists, those happy waves are returned by those on shore. Donna, look! Oh my gosh, Terry, the X-Men are attacking the boat. I hope, comrades, we're not making a terrible mistake. They crash through. Don't think so, big guy. Oh, it's not tourists at all. Stay behind us, my friends. Let Rogue me deflect their fire. They're firing at him. Ah, just brought this outfit. Ain't so much in the mood to see it shot to pieces. Bosses, fastball, special. I want to see how those creeps take on their own medicine. The mercenary's armor is proof against virtually any weapon. Unfortunately for them, Wolverine's claws are forged in adamantium, the strongest metal known, honed by razor keenness. Hot on his heels come his fellow X-Men, pitting their natural talents against these ultimate examples of military high technology. Ah, hate crowds. How about we find ourselves some room to really boogie, Kay? We had no alternative, but strike as we did, and delay would have been catastrophic. But, to the people on shore, it must appear as if the X-Men attacked a boatload of defenseless tourists, so even if we win, we'll still lose. Drat! Those battlesuits have too many backup systems. When I short-circuit the mains, by phasing through them, secondary ones automatically come on. I can't slow these suckers down, but I can stop them. Remember our last meeting, butchers? You were no match for me then. He gets punched. Things have changed, Ruski. Back in the church. Crash. He goes through a big stained glass window. Probably Notre Dame. My Thunder Puncher put a mutie down for the count. Let's finish him. They're after. Come on, slowpokes. That's the best y'all can do? Up here, there's less chance of any innocent bystanders getting chopped up in the crossfire or the city being too badly wrecked. Great. Ah, got their attention. Now what? We keep hitting, they keep coming. Which suits me just fine, but something in this caper doesn't fit. These are grunts, cannon fodder. There's no sign of the super beings Ray sensed, the ones who zapped Rogue and Colossus in the hospital. They're not here. If this is a diversion to keep the X-Men busy, what is their real target? There's a pitched battle raging in the Seine. It's Magneto's fault. We should evacuate the court. Is it safe? Are we in danger? Explosion in the court. We have Fenris, the great wolf before us, who dread power. The world will bow. We have come, Magneto, to deliver the fate you so richly deserve. Stop them, Charles. Or call the X-Men for help. I cannot. My side powers are too weak. Here I stand. Here I shall remain. And while I breathe, you shall do no more harm. Then let that be your epitaph. These pathetic humans perish by your side. Meanwhile, not far away, on the Seine, another battle reaches its climax. Nightcrawler Trim the odds. With pleasure, Storm. Join me for jaunt, gentlemen? Of course, we will be, no worry. Through aren't we going far? Enjoy your swim, mein Herr. He drops him off in the water. I don't know, Ray. This is way too easy. Holy cow. X-Men, look, the Palace of Justice. We've been suckered. Palace of Justice is exploding. For too many years, swine. The humiliation, the defeat suffered by your beloved father at your hands has gone unavenged. Today, at long last, you shall pay. What are they talking about? Who do they mean? A futile threat, youngsters, considering your energy beams are unable to penetrate my magnetic shield. T. Jaspers, Magneto's risking his life to safeguard ours. Hardly an act of a villain. It proves nothing. All he's doing is saving his own skin. Not doing fine, jot of it. Foolish old man. There's many way to skin the proverbial cat. Floor. Aim at the floor. Falling into the basement. And some of the judges, plus Gabrielle, Jaspers, and Xavier with me. Must try to cushion our landing and protect everyone from falling debris. I was overconfident. I should have anticipated that move. Something about those twins. I know them, but from where? You're bleeding, Charles. The cut isn't serious. Thank heavens. They're in the basement. Juv, Shakrov, and Chief Justice Devereaux. Are you unhurt, Sir James? Keep your distance, murderer, and spare me your false suicide. I'm fine. There's no escape for you this way, old man, or any other. Your fate of Baldy's and Jewess is sealed. Why the three of us? The twins' power evidently works solely when they're physically in contact. The boy projects force. His sister, raw power. Disintegration. Whatever it touches. What? We're being buried. My doing, hotshots. My pleasure. Fenris is not so easily caged, X-Man, nor will hatred be denied by anyone. Yield, or I fry the human ashes. I think I can nail her in time. But suppose I'm wrong. I can't take the chance. Okay, Blondie, you win. We always do. Thwack! Hits her back. Tell us, Magneto. Is your life worth more than these humans? Would you sacrifice it to save them? Yes. They're lying. They mean to slay us all, regardless. But what choice do I have? This is my chance. While Fenris is concentrating on Magneto, I've broken their grasp. Keep them apart. And they're powerless, I hope, if my deductions are incorrect. Threaten me, you mutant? By Godfrey, I'll see you never harm another living soul. Jasper, stop! Andrea! I'm my father's daughter. No matter what, I shall not cry out. Leave! Go, man! Take your inhuman hands off me. You little better than they are. For all your talks of hopes and dreams. Enough! Magneto had no rock in his hand, Sir James. His power could have crushed these children. Yet he chose to be merciful. Truly, Miss So, in human contact. Struck. Yes, dear. We were struck quite hard. No, a name. Twins' thoughts. Struck. Strucker. He is the father. Baron von Wolfgrain von Strucker? Of course. That explains everything. Quarter century ago, Charles and I rescued Gabrielle from his clutches in Africa. I never imagined he had children. X-Men 161. Once again, the choices made in my past have deadly repercussions in my present. You all had best go on ahead. Charles, how shall we deal with our wolf cubs? I don't need telepathy to see Magneto. I believe these twins are too dangerous to be allowed to live, but by asking, he's deferring my judgment, despite his reservations. We'll turn them over to the French authorities. My heart. Charles? Forget me. Watch out, Fenris. Blast. They reconnected. This round goes to you, old man, but its victory you'll not long enjoy. The boys shattered the riverside wall. The Seans pouring in. Magneto, Charles, they've been swept into the catacombs. Good riddance, I say. Too bad, rubbish. As always, Sir James. You talk too much. Slap. No mind touch from Charles or Rachel. They both must be too weak or unconscious. Must try to catch hold here. He is. A miracle so far. We haven't slammed into anything. At this speed, any collision is certain to be fatal. The flood shows no sign of abating. If we don't watch, we'll drown. I wonder if the Strucker brats survived. One can hope for the best, but their kind are always indecently lucky. Ugh, where are we? Charles, you're alive. For a moment, summon help. No point. I smell flowers. It's a garden. I'm afraid our arrival has somewhat been marred by its beauty. One certainty about Xavier and his X-Men. From this mess, you can generally tell where they've been. That's a joke, my friend. You're supposed to laugh. I'm not in the mood. Wish this didn't hurt so much. Stop talking nonsense. You're not gonna die. Says who? I won't allow you to give up. Don't be so absurd. It's out of our hands. Promise me, Magneto, you'll carry on in my place. Take over my school. Look after the X-Men. Teach the New Mutants. Impossible. They'll never accept me. Are you afraid? And with good reason. Charles, I'm not worthy of your trust, of this awesome responsibility. Please do not ask for what I cannot give. Prove yourself worthy. Remember in Israel, when we were young, and the dreams, ideals we shared. After that, we walked tragically different paths. You say, now yours was wrong to seek amends. Here is your chance. Do what no one believes you can be done. It will stand as a nobler monument and better safeguard to mutant kind than your martyrdom at this trial. It will be hard. Consider the alternative. Well, I shall try. Xavier, my love. What the devil? Shara and Kai there. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce their names? We've had the devil's own time tracking you down, dear heart. Hand me the medical analyzer. We can transmit Charles' condition to Sikorsky. Sikorsky? Of course, the Starjammer's physician pulled Colossus from the jaws of death. He can do anything. Can he do anything less for you? If all goes well, we'll return you here, hale and hearty, within the hour. Thank heaven. Oh no. You don't get off that easy, Magneto. Something goes wrong. Nothing will. Can't take that risk. You think you know better than me, than myself. Suppose I fail and betray your dream. Our dream, blast you. And we'll never know. If you don't, try. Paris Police Headquarters. More craziness going on. Qu'est-ce? Separatists, c'est les X-Men. Keep your pistol holstered. Let's stay loose. Let's see what they want. These goons comprise the bulk of the terrorist outfits called Fenris. They're the ones responsible for the attacks on the Soviet NATO bases and the hospital. They have done the same to Paris if the X-Men hadn't stopped them. We've done our job, gentlemen. Now it's your turn. Around the corner, at the law courts, you must leave Madam Chief Justice in the building, structurally unsound. There are mutants reported in this vicinity. It's not safe. Un moment, Capitan. How do you feel, Rachel? Ache all over. Miss Holler, especially inside my skull. But I'll be okay. I'll try to contact the others. This is a very special moment. We three have each lived through primal aspects of this never-ending nightmare, of the persecution and hatred. I'm past Mal Devreux, the president, and Rachel of the future. But have today's efforts changed that future? Have we made a difference? You know, Counselor, I would probably have accepted a plea for mitigation of sentence if he had been found guilty. Not an acquittal for Magneto, but not death either. But that has all been rendered mute. Whatever a court of law decides, his fate and the X-Men's is now before the court of the public opinion. The people of the world will determine their innocence or guilt. and whether their story has truly a happy ending. Miss Holler, I've scanned all over, but I can't spot any trace of Professor X. Where? Oh, junk call. Where has he gone? What's happened to him? I gave you my word, Charles. What may. I will not. I will be true to it. A beginning, a duel, an ending. So, Professor X, his condition may be worsening. And yes, that is about it for the Uncanny X-Men. Number 200, The Trial of Magneto. Very, very interesting. Really crazy. We had a lot going on. The USSR, like during the Cold War. We also had Magneto, his past crimes catching up with him. He was reborn, apparently, with mutant Alpha, which I don't know if that's the very first mutant or very powerful mutant. Not very familiar with mutant Alpha. Let's look up mutant Alpha. How about that? And we can go ahead and look at some of the market. Mutant Alpha. Very curious. There's 616 Alpha mutant. No, doctor, don't turn away. You may deny yourself a chance to see a miracle. Turn, my friends, look at him. Behold the creature who soon will make me master of the world. Alright, so mutant Alpha. Alright, creation. Alpha was created in long deserted, subterranean, deviant city in Carlsbad Caverns of New Mexico, when the half-deviant, half-inhuman criminal Maelstrom had hid a wide array of ancient but advanced devices and information about experimental evolutionary technology. Mutant terrorist Magneto accidentally found the abandoned place while escaping from his imprisonment in the center of the Earth and studied the resources. He discovered a way to create, through the use of bioengineering, his own ultimate mutant, with powers far beyond anything known. Deciding that this project was too important for him to endeavor upon alone, Magneto summoned his trusted people, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, including the Blob Mastermind, Unus the Untouchable, and Lorelei, whose powers Magneto restored for the occasion. Magneto also attracted an unwanted attention of his enemy Professor X, who intended to oppose him. As X-Men were unavailable on a different mission, Professor X recruited another superhero team, the Defenders, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Nighthawk, and Valkyrie. But they were all defeated and captured by the Brotherhood. The Defenders escaped and turned tables on the Brotherhood, but by then Magneto had finished the growth of his ultimate mutant, and Alpha rose from his uterine pod. Initially a mute, giant brute, slow in movement, Alpha was quickly attacked by Doctor Strange with mystical energies. Newborn Alpha first knew about pain, but was unharmed. Professor X prompted the Defenders to press the attack and prevent Alpha from being released, but Doctor Strange and the Hulk failed to stop Alpha. Seeing Alpha's superior power, Magneto happily allowed Professor X and the Defenders live so they could see his victory. But he imprisoned the Defenders in a cave, using his powers to collapse the cave's entrance. Magneto then ordered Alpha to teleport himself and the Brotherhood to the United Nations headquarters in New York City, leaving the Defenders behind. The Defenders escaped from the cave and followed Magneto to New York more slowly. Interesting. The Defenders arrived and assaulted the flying fortress. Detecting them, Magneto ordered Alpha to destroy them all. Ever-evolving Alpha, already developed a conscience, started doubting about this approach, but nonetheless, he generated concrete monsters to fight the Defenders, but the Defenders prevailed. Magneto insisted Alpha destroy the Defenders, but Alpha was reluctant to murder. Magneto tried to convince his creation that the Defenders were evil and Alpha would be uncreated if he resisted his commands. Still, Alpha fought but did not destroy Defenders. Instead, he halted their ability to fight in a variety of ways, petrifying the Hulk, ensnaring Nighthawk in a whirlwind, and paralyzing Valkyrie by mutating her legs. He then gave the Defenders a chance to surrender. Perceptive Professor X understood that Alpha was confused and prompted a debate, suggesting that Magneto was morally wrong. Alpha was curious and allowed the conversation. Magneto denied the accusation, but Doctor Strange pointed at Alpha that Magneto was clearly afraid. But then Alpha already admitted that one of the sides was lying. Professor X asked Alpha to judge by himself, and then Alpha uses very advanced telepathy to compare intentions and actions. Finally understand that Magneto had lied to him. Magneto declared he had been paternalistic because Alpha, still a child, emotionally speaking, had been unprepared to understand the nuances in real life, and because he really believed the unity of mutants, Alpha, having evolved far beyond the other mutants on Earth, both biologically and emotionally, denied this charge. Alpha stated that Magneto and the Brotherhood had behaved as if they were egotistical children, particularly in comparison with the now much more mature Alpha, and used his powers to reverse their aging process, turning the Brotherhood, including Magneto, into crying babies. Alpha then apologized to the Defenders, restored the building to its previous position, and wiping the event from the minds of most of the human population. After meditating, Alpha decides that Earth is become too small for someone like him, and flew away to the stars, looking for his destiny. He asked the Defenders to think about him from time to time. Whoa, okay, very interesting. Well, so he did turn him into a baby. He was created by the Evil Brotherhood and Magneto, and that's Mutant Alpha. So he wasn't like the first mutant or anything. Very interesting, very, very interesting. Well, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and check out the market, see if anything has changed too much. So definitely a lot more on the market here. We have seen 63 instead of like 5. It's down to 132 for the secret rare, so very, very low. And then under sale price, so the common is going for 5 gems, maybe good to buy to burn a bunch for the MCP. The first appearance of Fenris, but does that matter? Maybe not so much. Very, very cool comic. Again, only $100 that we saw on Go Collect. So if you like it, go ahead and get it, but probably not the best one for trading wise as far as monetary gain, but very interesting nonetheless. We have the Golden Moments. Pooh Bear that I just searched up, he dropped a little bit. He's in the 400s, was past 500. Everything kind of continuing down. Lumiere and Cogsworth to 175. Definitely gained a lot though, doubled since it's low. So stuff still kind of like going sideways. Of course, we have this Toby, pretty much everything except the secret rare going for under that 50 gems. I think the ultra rare is maybe right around 50. But one thing I pointed out to, sorry about that. One thing I pointed out is that, you know, you have the secret rare 134. So there were over 30,000 editions of this very niche character, right? And people are like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen this rarely ever happen, that something doesn't sell, it doesn't sell immediately. And it took several hours. But my thought was like, this is 30,000 editions of a not very popular character, and it still sold out in a few hours. Like, that's insane, right? Like, things, like, our expectations are just so blown out of proportion. For this to even sell at all is crazy. 30,000 editions. The Light Cult Crypto Club, which is Ron English's PFP thing, 10,000 editions on OpenSea, I don't think it did sell. They did an airdrop of the rest of them. They're only sold like 4,000 or 5,000 of them, and they had to airdrop the rest of the 10,000. And it was, you know, everything unique and kind of one-of-ones. There were rare ones that were like very custom. It was kind of a PFP generative project where he developed a bunch of stuff where there's certain rarities, very similar to other things on the blockchain. But that was Ron English, very popular character on OpenSea, you know, 10,000 editions. This was over 30,000 editions at $50, and it still sold out within a couple of hours. Like, that is insane. When VeVe was still in its infancy, this would not sell out for like a month or weeks. So we still have tons of users willing to buy this stuff. So just keep in mind, we still have tons of users, and they are still around. There's still people buying stuff. And once we see Bitcoin, you know, really break above, and I don't know what the level is, let's say 50, 55K, 60K, whatever, where people feel like it is a bull trend and there's a general uptrend, which has not happened quite yet. You know, have still seen a general a downtrend over like the past few months. It will eventually happen where we do break out and we do see the general uptrend. Over the past year, we saw this peak, and we might be on the beginning of that right now. We might be as maybe tensions, hopefully, Russia may be pulling back. We might be seeing what happens there, and hopefully that doesn't continue in a bad way, although I feel like it will a little bit more, but hopefully it doesn't, and Ukraine can beat them back. But we might be seeing a continuation, maybe, perhaps. Plus, we still have interest rates being raised and inflation and all that stuff in the background, which isn't great as well for the economy and the stock market, but eventually it will recover, and so will Bitcoin, I feel. And this will also recover altcoins, including Ecomi, and it will also include NFTs. I think a recurrence of that, and there will be a whole new group of NFTs. A lot of these games that are launching, I think we'll see those Illuvium and some other games really take off, and VeVe, I think, will be returned again to its former glory. Although we still have plenty of users, that's the point. It's like we still have millions of users still buying this stuff, but there'll be another leg up like maybe we saw in January. But it is healthy to retrace. Things are still crazy up. If you look at Todd Batman, we can search him very quickly. He was 3,000 at the beginning of January, and I think he's probably now like 6,000 or 7,000. See if we can let's see if he just appears. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. There he is. So, he's still 5,400 gems. Like, he's still almost double what he was at the beginning of January. And obviously that's way up since last year. So things are still doing just fine. If you bought at the top in January, yeah, you're not doing well, but still fine. Things still haven't crashed an insane amount as I thought they would have. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you so much. Remember, I will be going live for every comic reading every morning. Of course, they've been launching primarily at 8 a.m. So I'll be going live about 8:15, 8:20 right after that. So we can do the comic reading, talk about the market, other things coming up. Remember, me and When Pokemon Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Twitter, and then I'll be better about showing the schedule so you guys can see exactly what's happening when it's happening. Hopefully, VeVe though usually announces like a day or two ahead of time the drop, so it's not super early. So if I'm available at home. Either way, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I will be seeing you later. Remember, be yourself and eat a cookie.